It's time to talk about tech because every Tuesday we have a segment called Tech Tuesday. It gives me pleasure to introduce my next guest. Dhruv Bhutani is joining in as he has done in the past. Dhruv, as always, thank you so much for taking the time. And we decided that we would speak about smartphones and specifically flagship smartphones that were also affordable, value smartphones, if you can call it that, in the flagship space. Are there interesting variants available that you can pick up right now, and how do you categorize them?
Interesting that you mentioned that. Just this week, OnePlus, now this is a brand that has been famous for sort of creating the category of value flagships, and they've sort of marked a return to the category after a while because they've been having a northward trajectory, constantly increasing prices. So the latest phone, it's the OnePlus 9 RT, which is well, a successor to the OnePlus R from last year. It's got the top of the line Snapdragon 888 processor. Yes, Qualcomm has something newer out there, but that's not available on any shipping smartphone right now. Uh, all the bells and whistles, but it's an interesting device because it's taking a little bit of everything from across OnePlus's portfolio, including the design. Not much has changed, but then it's got this new color, very interesting paint job, which gleams under direct sunlight. So this one's priced around 43,000 rupees onwards, and they have a second variant which has 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage, which is around 47,000 rupees. A very interesting entry and a return to form for OnePlus. But of course, OnePlus is not the only one in the segment that is focusing on value flagships, a very hot category, so to speak. Uh, there's also Samsung. Samsung recently launched the Galaxy S21 FE. Now, there's an interesting story behind the name itself. It's called the Fan Edition, and that's because this phone takes the ethos of all the flagship and distills it down to a value-focused segment. And in a sense, you basically get the same processor as the top of the line S21 Ultra. Uh, some downgrades have been made to the cameras, but you still get class-leading 12 megapixel primary cameras, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 8 megapixel telephoto, um, IP68 ratings, and a fantastic support uh, promise, so to speak. It's already got Android 12. It's running the latest bleeding edge version of Android and will be updated further as well. Uh, this one's priced at around 54,999, but you can often catch it on deals for under 50,000 rupees. Another fantastic deal if you're looking for a value flagship Android phone.
Understood. You've also listed the iPhone 12, and I'm curious as to why you've selected that. Would you still consider it to be a flagship, despite the fact that the 13 is out now? And how does it compare to the two Androids that you've just listed out?
Here's the thing, Alex. Like I'm an Android fan at heart, but when it comes to iPhones, uh, you just can't deny the fact that these things are built to last. So the iPhone 12 in particular, even if it's not the current flagship, this is a phone that's still going to last 5 years, maybe even 6 years with all the updates that Apple keeps pushing out. The imaging is still, some of the best that you can get on the market. And at a sweet price point of around 62,000 rupees at which you can get it right now, especially with all the deals going on. It's a bit of a no-brainer if you want to experiment with the iOS ecosystem, and also if you've been wanting an iPhone but don't really want to splurge the big bucks, because this gets you most of the experience for not as much money.
Absolutely. Um, if you were to talk about buying a value smartphone in that price category, though, what do you have to settle for, Dhruv? In that, are you settling for something, or do you get everything that you need?
So it gets a little interesting. There are some categories or some aspects of a phone where you might have to settle on. Occasionally, it's the design. So, like in the case of the OnePlus 9 RT, it's not as if you're getting an absolutely new ID. It is basically the same phone as last year. Looks almost identical with a fresh coat of paint. Or in the case of the S21 FE, you don't have the absolute best cameras available right now. Uh, what trade-offs work for you? Those are factors that you do have to consider while looking at buying a new value flagship. So, I mean, if you're on the Android side, it's pretty clear cut. The S21 FE is going to give you better camera chops, whereas the OnePlus RT might give you faster charging or a little more processing power. And I mean, it's the same case with the iPhone as well. You're not getting the absolute bleeding edge hardware, but you're still getting a lot of value for your money. And I guess that's what a value flagship is all about.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. There are a few options to consider when you're talking about the OnePlus, though, right, Dhruv? You can also consider the OnePlus 9. Would you say that you can look at the OnePlus 9 still as compared to the OnePlus 9 RT?
I think I lost you there, Alex.
Dhruv, are you still with us?
Yes,
Yeah, so
I
I
couldn't
was
catch
talking
what you
about
said.
the options available with regard to the OnePlus. Yeah, so would you say that it's still an option to consider the OnePlus 9 as opposed to the OnePlus 9 RT?
A very good question that you raise over there. At MRP, the OnePlus 9 is still, I would say, about 10,000 rupees more expensive than the OnePlus RT. And when you're looking for value, that is a considerable leap. But I mean, OnePlus has been putting the OnePlus 9 out on sale quite often. Now, it's a bit of a mixed bag because the OnePlus 9 RT gives you a slightly bigger display, a slightly better primary camera, but the overall camera package on the OnePlus 9 is still better than the OnePlus 9 RT. So basically, like your buying decision is based on do you want a more comprehensive camera package, or if you want a slightly larger display and a s I mean, debatably, a better paint job on the phone because they're calling it the hacker black color on the OnePlus 9 RT, and it is quite fetching, quite distinctive. So I would say, it's just these two factors because performance-wise, in terms of battery life, in terms of the software as well, these phones are identical. Charging speeds are identical. So what you're really paying a little extra for is basically um, a better ultra-wide camera. It really just boils down to that. Now, do you use it enough? Do you anticipate using it enough? That's primarily going to be the only way you can differentiate between these two phones and make a decision.
Okay. What's the clincher though? And what's the bottom line? Which out of the three that you've picked, that
Mhm.
you've selected to talk about,
Mhm.
stands out as the clear winner for you?
Okay, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, but honestly, there is no clear winner. Uh, none of these phones are bad phones. It, like I emphasized earlier as well, it really comes down to your requirements from a phone. Performance, go with the OnePlus. Better cameras, and on the Android ecosystem, definitely go with the S21 FE. And if you want to explore the iOS ecosystem, I mean, you really don't get a better deal, better value than the iPhone 12 at this point.
Okay. Well, it's been an absolutely fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for joining in, Dhruv. I'm sure that you've helped somebody tuning in to make their selection if they are indeed in the market for a value smartphone flagship.